Hey guys, welcome to today's video. I realized in editing that I forgot to film an intro for this video, so today's video is going to be on this look right here, and this is actually going to be my wedding makeup. So the makeup I'm going to wear on my wedding day, which as I'm filming this is in 2 weeks, which is mind-blowing and I can't believe it. But yeah, so this is the makeup that I'm going to be wearing on my wedding day. I tried to kind of do my hair to make it look kind of fancy for you guys, but realistically my hair is gonna look a lot better than this. So without further ado, I'm gonna get into the video. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. As you can see, I've got on my very special robe. It actually says the bride on the back. I don't know if you can see that. So I thought it'd be fun to wear for this video. It keeps on like flying open, so I may end up taking it off halfway through the video, but okay, so for my wedding makeup, I mean, I've basically been practicing this since I got engaged, probably realistically even before that. So I have a pretty good idea of what I want to do for it, especially on the eyes. Like I know exactly what I want, but I've been kind of playing around with face products because those are the things that I really need to last. And that's something you really want to make sure that you have figured out so that your makeup doesn't slip and slide all over your face all day. So we're going to start with sunscreen because you should always have sunscreen on your face, especially my wedding is going to be outdoors. So I definitely need all the SPF that I can get. So this one is the Supergroup Unseen Sunscreen. This is SPF 40. Looks like this. So I just take about a pea-size amount. And this one is really awesome because it doesn't really affect, like it doesn't seem to mess with the makeup that I put on top of it. And it doesn't really, like it sinks in really quickly. It doesn't leave like a greasy film on the face, which is why I love it for under makeup. And I just make sure that my whole face is covered. I'm almost positive that this is going to be a long video, so I'm not even going to try to like, I mean, I will try to keep it as short and sweet as possible, but like this is wedding makeup. So I'm giving you like really important tips and tricks on how to make your makeup any day last all day, but especially on your wedding day. Now we're going to go in with a primer. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter for a Superstar Youth Glow. This is like a luminous, I don't know, I feel like some people, like if you had like absolutely perfect skin, you could use this as foundation. It is very luminous though, but I use this under my makeup to give me a little bit of a glow. I do have dry skin, so I can take all the help that I can get in the glow department. And I mostly focus this like on my cheeks and like, I don't know, in the center of my face. Because I don't really want light to reflect off of like the edges of my face. I more so want light to be in the center of my face. It'll look really pretty in photos. And this isn't really going to shine through the foundation. Sorry, I usually would have my hair pulled back, but I wanted to look cute for the video. This isn't really going to show through the foundation. It's more so going to almost like not change the formula, but add to the formula and give it a little extra luminosity. So I just blend that in with my sponge, and then this will kind of be the thing that shines through the foundation and gives me that glow. This is the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector Liquid in the shade Champagne Pop. And I just take 1 pump of this. It is very reflective, so it may look a little crazy when I first put it on, but it doesn't look super intense once it's blended out. It just kind of like underneath the foundation, it gives this really nice glow so that I have that beautiful, like healthy, yeah, healthy would be the word that I would choose. And I feel like on your wedding day, you want to kind of, you definitely want to look like yourself, but like a more dolled up, glamorous version of yourself, or at least I do. But I'm the kind of person that wears makeup like not every day, but like most days, even if I'm not going anywhere. I like to put on like some brows and concealer and bronzer. So on my wedding day, like it wouldn't be that far off for me to be in like full glam with big old lashes and a smoky eye. Like that's just like my jam. But for my skin, like I still want to look like my skin. So that is where this foundation comes in. So this is the Lancome Tante Dole Ultra Wear foundation, and it says up to 24-hour color, wear, and comfort, transfer resistant for all skin types. And this is in the shade Bisque Neutral. I plan on being fairly tan for my wedding. I will self-tan like a couple of days before. So I don't know if this is going to be exactly the perfect shade, but it'll look it looks really good once I add bronzer and stuff to it, so I'm not like super worried about it. I have some time to go ahead and return this if I decide I want a different shade, because I will try and self-tan at least one more time probably before my wedding. But anyway, so for this, I'm gonna start with one pump, and I'm gonna rub it between my fingers and dot it on my face. Rather than like squeezing a bunch of foundation on my face, I'm just gonna dot it on to start. And I'm going to start blending that out with a beauty blender. Pretty much doing my whole base with a beauty blender for the liquid products. I really think that that gives the most like natural skin-like finish because it kind of adds that moisture back in. I want to make sure I get like right here on my jawline because I feel like that's the spot where like people tend to miss the most. And then you can definitely tell where the foundation ends and begins. And so this, I mean, like I said, I want my skin to look like my skin, but like this is still going to be a glamorous look. Like I'm wearing a full wedding dress. Like it's not like a casual thing. This is definitely a very special day. So I'm going to make sure that I dress, I mean, obviously dress accordingly, but like dress my face up accordingly. So that is what one pump looks like. As you can see, I've got a few spots on my forehead and stuff like that that hopefully will be gone by the wedding. So I am going to go in with another pump, rub it between my fingers again. And like I said, I don't want to miss the jawline. I'm going to add a little bit more like around the perimeter of my face and a little extra on my forehead because of those spots. You can see I'm just like rubbing it between my hands. Normally I have a towel on my lap, but I don't today, and I'm wearing this white robe, so I'm trying not to get any like foundation on it because I do want to wear this on my wedding day and take cute pictures in it and stuff. But really focusing on this jawline and bringing it back onto my ears too, because I want it to look very seamless. I don't want, you know, a distinct line where the foundation ends. And yes, I am doing my base first. I tend to really like the way it looks. Like my eye makeup looks a lot more finished when I do my base first, I feel like. And I don't tend to have a huge issue with fallout for my eye makeup just because I really like to build color rather than like packing on a bunch of color and trying to blend it out. I think I've said that in my last couple of videos. So I won't really have much of an issue with fallout or anything. So you can still see some of my spots through, but that's okay. Like I said, hopefully those will be gone by wedding day. So we're gonna move on to concealer. This actually is a really, really pretty foundation. I like the idea of wearing it. The only issue I may have with it is that it does have that SPF in it. And I'm already wearing a sunscreen underneath, so I feel like adding a foundation that has SPF. If you don't know, SPF can cause flashback in photos, and I will be having my wedding flash photographed. So I'm not sure about this yet. I'll do some flash photography testing and see if I notice a huge difference with flashback, and if not, I might actually end up wearing this one because it is really beautiful. And yeah, okay. So next, we're gonna go in with concealer. So I went pretty high end for my foundation, but next I want to go in with a little bit more of an affordable concealer. It's just one that I know works for me. And it is the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer, and I will probably mix in a little bit of my ColourPop Pretty Fresh Concealer as well. And I'm just adding like a little bit here on the inner corner. I don't want to do the whole big triangle because we did put 2 pumps of foundation on my face, so I don't really need a ton of coverage like on my cheeks. And this will blend down onto my cheeks anyway. Just a little bit of product. Trying to avoid like a lot of product buildup under my eyes especially. And then I think I'm going to just do a dot on my chin and a couple of dots in the center of my forehead just to highlight. So I'm going to blend out my under eyes last, and the reason for that is that once the concealer has had a chance to dry down a little bit, it'll give me a little bit more coverage. And this is a very full coverage concealer. Like I could probably blend it out right now and it would be fine, but I do want to make sure that I get the most out of it. So I'm just going to blend my under eyes out last. So I'm starting with the little dots that I did on my forehead and my chin first, bringing them down onto my nose, making sure it's all really well blended. And then I'm going to give it a few seconds to dry down, and then I'm going to blend it out. So I'm just going to go ahead and blend it out. And I'm going to start on this inner corner and just patting it out. And you can see that just really brightens up the under eye, but I didn't do a crazy light concealer under my eyes because I still want to look, I want it to look like my skin. I want it to look like natural. But naturally underneath your eyes is not like 5 shades lighter than the rest of your face. It's generally about the same color. So I didn't do a super, super bright concealer. I did one that matched the tone of my skin. So not too yellow, not too pink. I would say this is a pretty neutral color, but I do have a little bit of pinkiness on my skin anyway. I do like to err on the side of neutral though. For now, I want to go in and cream contour. And this step is something that I feel like is very necessary if you want to make sure that your makeup lasts all day. Because if you cream contour underneath a powder contour, because we will set it with a powder, it will just have kind of something to like back it up almost. So like when the powder has sunk into your skin and everything and you've been like sweating and you know, my wedding will be outside, so it'll probably be warm. Once I've been sweating and stuff, if that powder contour kind of fades a little bit, I still have that cream contour that I laid down first in place and it's like ready to back me up whenever if that were to fade. For my cream contour, you guys have seen this, but this is my ColourPop No Filter Stick Foundation in the shade Medium Dark 130C. C stands for cool tone. This is a little bit of a cool tone contour. And what I've actually been into doing recently is putting it directly on my sponge and just doing like a couple of swipes. And then I'm gonna pull my hair back away from my face so I don't get makeup in my hair. And just patting that color on from the sponge. It's so pretty. And I'm using just the one side of the sponge so that if I go a little bit too low or a little bit too far to like the corner of my mouth, I can use the pointy side that it has like leftover concealer on it maybe for cleanup. So you saw me do that right there in the beginning. That's what I was doing when I patted under here. Cream contour is really nice because you can really build it up to be a really intense contour, or you can make it really natural. So I'm just doing a little bit here. This one is like several shades darker than my skin tone, so it's gonna add a little extra like warmth and it's gonna color correct where the foundation, if it's a little bit too light on my wedding day, depending on what my tan looks like, it'll be able to kind of correct a little bit of that. So I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. Probably speed through this. So that is pretty much all of the creams that I'm going to use on my face. So now we're going to go into setting. And for setting, you know, even though I want my makeup to last all day, I do have dry skin and I still want to look like myself. So I'm not going to be baking on my wedding day. I'm going to just be setting kind of like I normally do. Because I know that the way that I set normally keeps my makeup on all day. I've used this powder for a while and I just feel like it's the best option for me. So this is the CoverGirl Advanced Radiance Powder and this is in the shade Creamy Natural. It's a very fair shade. And what I like to do is kind of load up the brush and then I'm going to set the brush down. And the reason I do that is that I want to have the product on my brush ready to go. But I am going to pat out any creasing that happened under my eyes, just so that I'm not setting creases, I'm setting the smooth under eye concealer. So I'm gonna go in and blend this out, one eye at a time. So, okay, so now that that's blended out, I'm gonna go right away into my powder that's already loaded on this brush, and I'm just packing it on right up under the eyes. I'm not bringing it too far down onto the cheeks. I'm just setting like right where I would get the most shiny, because you do want to make sure that you don't have a ton of shine coming through, especially if you're being photographed with flash, because that shine will bounce off and it can change the way that your makeup looks in photos. So your contour may look wonky or like your skin tone may look weird. It's just like, this is just kind of tricking the light, or like playing with the light that will be on your face. So you see, this side is very mattified, but this is a radiant powder, so it's not like drying out my skin. And then I'm gonna go in and do the same thing on the other side, so I'm just gonna speed through that, and then we'll go on to the next step. Okay, so now our face is pretty much set. I'm gonna take a bigger fluffy brush in that same powder And I'm gonna go on my neck because I did bring that foundation down my neck. And just using kind of a light dusting of that, going right around my jawline and down my neck. Okay, so we are pretty much set as we're going to be. We are gonna go in with, like I said, we're gonna set the contour bronzer kind of situation we did with the cream. We're gonna set it with powder. I'm gonna go into my Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. This is gonna be my bronzer. I have a separate contour shade. So for this, I'm taking a big fluffy powder brush. This one is from Morphe, and I'm really loading it on. And like I like to do with pretty much any powder product that I use, tap it off. Really get most of it off because we already laid down a whole lot of that color, so we don't really need a ton of product on our brush. We just need a little bit to add warmth and to set. So I like to really bronze up on my cheeks and around the perimeter of my face. This is where I like to put my bronzer. You can put your bronzer wherever you want, but for me, this is the most flattering placement for my face shape. Okay, so bronzer is on, and next is contour. So I'm gonna go in with my e.l.f. Primer Infused Bronzer. This is in the shade Forever Sunkissed. This is, as you can see, a little more of a cool tone shade, and I'm using this to contour. So this, I'm gonna take a little smaller brush. This is from Sigma. The name has completely rubbed off, so I don't know what it is, but it's just a flat top, a little smaller brush that I really like for contouring my cheeks. So I'm loading that up on the brush, and then I'm going to go right where the shadow would be. So if I look forward, straight forward, you see the shadow is right here. So I'm gonna go and just add that contour right there. I'm not gonna bring it too far down. I'm just gonna keep it really close to my ear for now. And then once I've got a lot of that product off the brush, I'm gonna blend it out in a bigger area. But I want the concentrated color to be right here. Again, this is playing with light, trying to make your face the most flattering shape for you under the lighting that you're gonna be in. Cheeks are contoured. I'm not doing a super intense contour. Like you can see, we definitely added some shape to my face, but I didn't want to do too intense because that would just not look like me. So, and you know, you see me from the side or something, I tend to pull my hair behind my ears because I hate when my hair gets like down on my face. That's why I'm pulling this part kind of back in a braid for my wedding. But yeah, you would just see the stripe of contour in photos, and I don't want that. So next I'm going to contour my nose just like a teensy little bit. I'm going to use the same contour color. This is a little fluffier shading brush, and I use this, and the way I contour my nose, I don't bring it all the way down the length of my nose. I just kind of focus it like right here at the top, because I feel like my nose can get lost, which is funny to say. I feel like my nose can get lost once I've put all of this makeup on it, and I want to make sure that it's still getting the recognition that it deserves. See, that just added like a little bit of that shadow, and obviously this isn't blended out or anything. We're gonna blend it out. I'm just getting that initial lay down of color, and I'm gonna fluff this up to my eyebrow. And so you can see the difference from this side to this side. This side is just more sculpted, more shaped, and definitely has that definition that I'm looking for. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. So when I'm laying down the initial shape of the contour, I turn the brush on its side, so it's a little skinnier there. When I turn it this way, it's fatter. So I turn it on the skinny side, and I use that to make the initial line. And then once I'm ready to blend it out, I turn it on the fat side, and I just kind of go in circular buffing motions. And I'm going up into my brow again. And I just really like the way, the little details that this adds to my face. I just really think this is a nice step, especially for very glam makeup. And then I'm gonna go in with basically a bigger version of that brush. This is like the face version of that brush. I'm gonna buff over everything. with this brush, just so nothing is too concentrated. It's all very diffused. But now you can see the nose is just like more there. I love that. We're gonna go into blush now. And I just want to be the blushiest blushing bride that has ever been. So I'm gonna go in with my, this is actually new to me and I haven't talked about it on my channel yet. This is the Lunar Beauty Moon Prism Blush Palette. I have used it, but I have not talked about it on my channel. So it looks like this. And I kind of like to go in between these two shades, Twilight and Stargaze. And if I want like a little more sheen, I will dip into Soleil. But I'm gonna try and keep my face products or my powder products kind of matte because I am gonna go in and strategically place highlight in just a minute. So I'm gonna go in with this Morphe blush brush. It's a little slanted like this, and I'm just gonna pop back and forth between the two of them. I love a peachy blush. I think it's really, really beautiful, but I want to keep it kind of neutral for my wedding day. So I'm really loading up this brush because I want to get enough product on there to cover both cheeks, but I don't want to like overwhelm. So I am going to tap off like a good majority of the product so that there's none of that like fluff coming up, so that the blush can be placed where I want it and not fluffing all over my face whenever I go to blend. So do my dramatic hair flip again. I'm going to pull my hair back so I can see the cheek. And I like to keep my blush kind of further back on my cheekbone. And I'm just going to initially lay that down right there and go to the other side and do the same thing. And the reason I wanted to get enough blush for both cheeks is so that I don't end up with like a color discrepancy from cheek to cheek. I want it to be basically the same color on both cheeks. And once I've got most of the color off of that brush, I'm gonna just swirl and I'm gonna bring it further down. I love the way that like blush looks like right up under the eyes. I think I said that in my last video. Love it. And then I do love a blushy nose too. And I do wanna do that on my wedding day, but not so crazy. So just to look like I've been out in the sun, even though I haven't. I've been inside quarantining. So that is blush. I mean, I feel like it looks really, really beautiful. It may look pretty intense to some of you, but the cheeks are the most porous part of the face. So even if you feel like you've really loaded on the blush, as long as it's blended out and it looks really pretty and it's in the place that you want it, it's probably gonna fade by your wedding anyway, like by the time you're walking down the aisle. So I wouldn't even worry about it. If you feel like you've loaded it on, you can just wait for it to dissipate. And if you feel like you're about to, you're about to leave your dressing room area and you're like, oh my God, my blush is still crazy, you can take your powder brush and kind of swirl over everything just to give it one last blend like that. And that's, I mean, that's just a really easy way to fix any kind of overload on product, is just taking the brush you use to set your face and going over everything one last time. So next is brows, and I go back and forth about how I feel about my brows for my wedding, because typically I like a really strong like Instagram brow, and you'll see that on my Instagram, you'll see that on my social medias. That is kind of my jam, but I feel like for my wedding, I kind of want something a little bit more natural. I know, it's crazy, but so I am going to go in with a few different products. This is by no means like the easiest way to do your brows, but this is what works for me. This is not a brow tutorial. So I go in, I'm kind of going to talk about the products first, and then I'm going to go and do my brows off camera, just because I have a hard time doing that without like getting right up in my mirror. So I go in first with the GimMe Brow by Benefit, and this is in the shade 3, so it's not a super dark shade, even though my roots are fairly dark. I want it to be a very soft brow. So I'm going in and kind of loading this into my brows, and this is an initial color laydown, so I can kind of see where I need to go in with my pencil after this. And I'm rubbing kind of back and forth so it gets on all of the hairs, even on the outer edge. And then I'm gonna go through one last time and just push everything up. So you can see that one just like adds just like the tiniest bit of color. I do want to add some more shape. I feel like this brow, like it's a little lower on the top part and everything. So I am going to do some filling in there. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I start in the front of the brow, Again, this isn't like a super pigmented product, so you're not gonna get like an overboard application. You're gonna be able to kind of add a soft wash of color. So yeah, I just do that first. And then this is where I am torn because I like the idea of a pencil, but the pencil that I have on hand, while it is really beautiful, I don't feel like it's super long wearing. And so I feel like for my wedding day, I want a soft brow, but I want it to last like the whole day, which is a long day. For that, I'm gonna go in with my tried and true Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Pomade. This is in the shade Dark Brown. Now this is a very cool product because you can get both kinds of brows. You can get the really soft, bridal, like everyday brow, and you can get my personal favorite, the big, bold Instagram brow. And it's very customizable. You just need the tiniest bit of it. And so I just really like it, and it lasts such a long time. Like I have to go over my eyebrows specifically when I'm taking off my makeup because it really will stay on there. So I'm gonna go in with my Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is the number 12 brush. I only know that by memory. I've had this brush for so long, the number has worn off. I bent the little spoolie. Actually, it was on accident, but it worked out for the best. So I just kind of bent it over to the side a little bit. And for some reason, I feel like this just does a better job at letting me get like right up into my eyebrows and combing out product. So I'm just taking like a little bit of that on the brush, and then I do this all the time. I just take it and wipe off most of the product on the back of my hand. And I'm talking like most of the product. So I'm gonna go in underneath the brow first, and I'm going to line the brow, starting kind of not right at the front, but just before the front of the brow. And I'm using short hair-like strokes. I'm gonna bring it up through the brow, very short strokes. And then I'm gonna be doing this a lot throughout the process of doing my brow. I'm gonna be going in and blending that product out. I don't want this to be super, super heavy. I want it to be a very natural brow, like I said. So I'm gonna put a little product down, blend it out, put a little product down, blend it out, and so on and so forth. So I don't know how to do this on camera without getting like right up in the mirror. So I'm gonna do this off camera and we'll be right back, okay? Okay, so the brows are on. I'm sorry I couldn't do that on camera. It takes so long. Like I probably just sat here for like 20 minutes doing my eyebrows. You can't really tell from far away, but up close and in pictures where I'll be like detailed photographed, like there will be up close pictures of my face taken, you'll be able to see just how much more soft it is, and we're gonna add to how soft it's gonna be. So hang on just 1 second, I gotta go grab something. We're gonna do a fun little technique that'll make my brows stay in place all day. Okay, so I had to go to the other room to get this. It's a bar of soap. And on my wedding day, I really think that the best way to get my eyebrow hairs to stay in place all day, because they can get a little unruly, is to do soap brows. So I'm gonna kind of walk you guys through what that means. Basically, it's like using soap as an eyebrow gel. So what you'll need is a bar of soap, like I just showed you, and a little spoolie. I have these little disposable ones from like the dollar store, but you're gonna take one of these and you're gonna wet it, and then you're going to put it on the soap, rub it into the soap and get some of the soap on the spoolie, and then you're going to run it through your brows like eyebrow gel. So normally I would probably use water for this, but I'm gonna use setting spray because it's what I have in here. So I'm gonna wet this spoolie pretty generously, and I'm gonna rub it on the soap, again, pretty generously. And then I get a bunch on there because I'm going to wipe off a lot of it on the back of my hand so that we don't get chunks of soap in our eyebrows, because that's not a good look. And so then what I do is, you don't need to use it like heavy pressure to get this to stick to your brows. So I'm just going to go up, try to avoid touching the skin on your face. And I'm using just light motions going up. And this gives me a little bit more of a feathery brow too, because all the hairs stand up. You can kind of see the tips of the hairs like peeking up at the top of the brow. And this literally makes my eyebrows stay like this all day. Like even on a normal day, if I want my eyebrows to stay up at attention, this is how I would do it. So Once I've got this on there, there's not much moving it around. So you wanna work quickly. It's already dried. So that is like a really pretty brow for me. I'm gonna get this guy, get them under control a little bit. That's a really pretty brow for me. I can see where I need to go back in and kind of fill in the tail of my brow. But that's good. You can kind of see that once you've pushed all those brows up in place. Trying to just move these up here in the front. And then I'm gonna do the same thing on the other eyebrow. This soap is white, like you saw the bar of soap, it's white, but it does dry clear. If you feel more comfortable using like a clear bar of soap, you can. It just has to be a solid bar of soap. It can't be like a liquid soap. All right, so those are my soap brows. Very easy. It takes a little bit of practice to like, you know, not move the makeup around under your soap, but once you've got it down, it's a really good technique, especially if you need your eyebrows to stay in place all day. And it's something you can get like around your house. Like a lot of people have a bar of soap sitting around their house. So, and this is a bar of soap that I have dedicated explicitly to my soap brows. I don't use this on my hands. I don't use this for my body. I just use this for my soap brows. It's sanitary that way. So I just keep it on my bathroom counter, but I don't use it, and I kind of rinse it off before I go to use it again. Okay, so now it's time for the fun part. This is the eye look, and this is the part that I look forward to the most pretty much every time I'm doing my makeup, but I have been working on my bridal eye makeup, like trying to pick the tones that I want to use. Like, it is insane at how long I've been trying to perfect this, and I was playing with it yesterday, and I think I finally got it right, so I wanted to go ahead and share this with you guys. So, in my opinion, this is the perfect bridal eyeshadow palette. It's got all the perfect tones for you to create the perfect like blown out bridal eye. And that is the Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette. This is the first version. Mine is seriously used and abused. Like, it's dirty. I think I might go get another one before my wedding day, and that is saying something because I almost never repurchase eyeshadow palettes. But you can see like the shades that I use the most, like I'm seriously running low on them. So this palette doesn't have the shade names in it. This is like from the original launch day before they repackaged it for Ulta and everything. But this is the palette that I am going to use on my wedding day, and I'm so excited about this. Okay, so I'm just gonna go in. I don't know the shade names, but I will tell you kind of like where they are in the palette. I'll try to like hold it up and show you. But I'm gonna go in first with a big fluffy brush, and that is going to be the Jaclyn Hill and Morphe JH30 brush. And it's this big fluffy blender brush. I'm pretty sure this is a natural hair brush, and if it's not, it's a really good synthetic. And I'm gonna go in with a mixture of this shade and this shade, these two like matte light brown shades. And I'm gonna run my brush into both of them, tap off the excess, and then I'm going to just kind of run this all through my crease. You don't need to be super precise with this. If you have my kind of skin tone, this isn't really going to show up that much anyway. It's just going to be more of a like buffer for the other things to blend on top of. And from the very beginning, placing shadow, I want to kind of flick out the shadow because I want my eyeshadow to kind of come out in a wing shape almost. Not like super dramatic, but definitely in that blown out wing shape. So I'm going to go out. And like you can barely see that shade, but it's just gonna make such a difference with blending later on. Again, tapping off the excess and doing the same thing on the other side. Okay, so next we are going to go in with another fluffier brush, but it's a little smaller. This is the Morphe Jaclyn Hill JH32 brush. So it's just, this one is definitely looks like it's a natural hair brush, but it's a tapered blending brush. And I'm gonna go in with this like orangier shade mixed with this shade. I do a lot of mixing with this palette. So I'm gonna go in with this shade, mix it with this shade, and then we're gonna buff it into the crease. Tapping off the excess, and I'm gonna keep this a little lower in the crease. And I'm starting on this outer corner. That's where I want the majority of the depth to be. And once I've got that down, I'm going to blend it towards the inner corner using circular motions this way And the circular motions help to bring the color up a little bit higher, but not like crazy. So you can see that's just adding a little bit more definition. With this look, I'm all about building that definition and not packing on a bunch of color, because again, we did do our base first. So packing on a bunch of color, you risk getting more fallout. So I always like to blend and blend and blend and blend and build up the color versus packing it on and trying to blend it out afterwards. So that is that. And this is going to be a little bit warmer of a bridal eye. On myself, I know that I like a warm smoky eye. I just know that if I were to do all neutral tones on my wedding day, I would look at my pictures and be like, what the hell was I thinking? Again, doing the same thing on the other eye. And again, bringing it out into that V shape on the outer edge. Really trying to flick it out, create that long eye. And I'm bringing this one up a little higher than I'm gonna bring any of the other colors up, because this is the color that's gonna show behind everything. It's gonna add more of that blend, more of that gradient effect. So you're gonna notice as we go with the deeper colors, we're gonna go into smaller brushes. So the next brush I'm going to use is the JH33 brush. And this one, it still has color on it from yesterday, me doing my makeup. But this one is a lot smaller than the last one. I'll show you. So it's a lot smaller and it's a little bit more like skinny. I turned it to the side so you can see. So this way it's a little more fluffy. This way it's a little more skinny. That gives you a really versatile blending tool. And I'm gonna go in with this rusty red shade right here. And that is going to be where we add the bulk of our warmth. We're gonna deepen up with some more neutral tone browns, but this is gonna add that warmth to it. So I'm packing this onto my brush, tapping off the excess, just like every other time. And with this, I'm gonna press it right here on this outer corner. And that is so that I know where that color is going. I'm going to focus all of that color pretty much on this outer corner before blending anything else out. And this, you can see I'm keeping it lower in the crease because I don't want that, because this is a deeper color and I don't want it to get too high up. It'll kind of drag the eyes down and make everything look really dark. I'm just keeping this a little lower. And as I get less product on my brush, I'm going to blend this way out towards my, almost out like towards the tail of my eyebrow. And then now that I've got pretty much all of that color blended off of my brush, I'm bringing it towards the inner corner. That's my technique for like a smokier eye, is to focus the darkness on this outer corner because I want the inner part of the eye to be pretty bright. We're gonna go in with a brighter shimmer shade later. And I'm holding my brush a little bit closer to the top of the brush because I want to have a little bit more pressure and a little bit more control. If I hold it a little further away, I'm gonna get this softer blend. So you notice I'll go from like holding it up here to holding it at the tail end of the brush. Just depends on what you want and what kind of blend you want. So the further up on the brush you hold it, the more pressure you're gonna apply and the more pigment you're going to get in one spot. And I'm gonna kind of constantly be blending back and forth between this brush and the other brush. I'm gonna take a bigger brush in between the shades and kind of try to keep a seamless blend. And then I'm going to take an even smaller blending brush. Pretty much all the brushes I'm using are from that Jaclyn Hill Morphe brush collection. This is the JH40 brush. I'm going to take this deeper brown right here, and I'm going to pack this on the outer corner, just on the outer corner. We're not gonna bring this up in the crease, we're just gonna keep it pretty low on the outer corner. See, that's where I placed it. So I'm packing that on, and then I'm gonna, again, holding my brush with really light pressure, just keeping it low. And then I'll blend it up once I've placed it. But I'm not gonna take this all the way in. I'm just gonna take this on this outer corner. And I'm kind of bringing it further onto the lid here, but still keeping it lower down. And then once I've got it like down, once I've got the color down, I'm flicking it out in that same shape. See? So that's just bringing that definition up into that wing. Really light pressure when flicking it out because I don't want to add too much of that depth in the wing. Again, that'll drag the eye down. We want to lift it up. So that is pretty much all of the matte shades we're going to use. We may go in with like the darkest brown in this palette after we put the shimmer shade down, but that's pretty much all the matte shades we're going to use. I just realized that I haven't done anything to this outer corner here on the other eye. So, and we're going to go back in with this fluffy brush and blend that outer edge out. Okay, so I'm going to go in and do all those steps to this eye real fast. Okay, so the next step is going to be the shimmer shade, and again I'm going to be mixing. I'm going to go in with a mixture of this little bronzy shade and this more like cool tone champagne shade, and I'm going to take them actually on my finger and I'm going to go back and forth between the two a couple of times. What I did yesterday was I actually just ended up going back over with the brighter shade, so I'm adding a little bit more of the brighter shade and then the warm shade, the bronzy shade. And I'm just packing that on like this inner half of the eye so that it doesn't cover up too much of that darkness, but we are going to pack back over with the deeper brown shade at the end. And then I'm going to go in again with my finger on the other eye. I feel like the shimmery part is what makes it like very bridal. And then I'm going to go back in with the deeper brown shade on the tip of that brush. So instead of using like the side like I did last time, I'm just taking it on the tip because I want to just place it right along the lash line here so that we get that depth back. There we go. Don't need much. And then I can go in with the side of the brush and kind of blend over into the shimmery shade so that it's a really seamless blend. And I love this. I freaking love this. Look, it's so pretty. Okay, we're gonna finish up the top part of the eyeshadow with a black eyeshadow. So I'm gonna go in with I'm literally only going in with this palette because of the black in it. The black in this palette will be fine if you only have this palette, but I have both, so I'm gonna use both. And I'm gonna go in, it's the shade Temptress. So this black color right here, it's super black. And the reason I'm using this is because I want to do like a soft line of shadow instead of liquid liner. So I'm just going to take that black and I'm going to load it on this flat definer brush. This is the JH43 brush. And I'm going to press that right up at the base of my lashes. It just gives like a little bit of like definition without having to do like a full wing. I love winged eyeliner. I think it's really pretty, but I don't want to do it on my wedding day just because I don't want to risk messing it up and not loving my makeup. Because winged eyeliner can sense fear, I'm convinced, and if you don't have like a completely steady hand and a completely relaxed demeanor, it'll totally come for you and mess up your whole look. So I'm gonna just pack this eyeshadow right here. Most of it's gonna go on this outer corner. And then I'm gonna take a smaller brush. This is a ColourPop brush. This is the E6 brush. It's a little angled brush. And for my inner corner, I'm gonna use this because it's a little skinnier. So I'm using this to get that right on the inner corner because I do want this black to come all the way in here. And then I'm gonna go back in with the flat brush. So for my bridal makeup, it's very detailed. Like I'm using a lot of different brushes. If you're doing your own makeup for your wedding day, I suggest you invest in a good set of eye brushes at the very least. I found really good face brushes from the drugstore. Sonia Kashuk, e.l.f. has some really good ones. Real Techniques has some really good ones. But a good set of eye brushes will make your wedding eye look so much easier to achieve. And I just feel like if you're not gonna invest in a makeup artist for your wedding day, which is fine, I'm doing my own makeup for my wedding day. Not because I don't wanna hire a makeup artist because I don't think they'll do a good job, but because that's what makes me feel comfortable and I'd rather be responsible for my own face on my wedding day. But anyway, if you're doing your own makeup on your wedding day, I highly suggest you invest in a good set of brushes for your eyes. For your face, like I said, you can kind of use what makes you feel good, what makes your makeup easiest for you. But for your eyes, I think a good set of blending brushes for your eyes is like non-negotiable. I feel like it's something you really need. So I'm gonna do the same thing on this other eye. I'm gonna hunch over and do the same thing on this other eye. We're gonna go back into the original Morphe Jaclyn Hill palette, and I'm gonna basically take like the same colors that I used on the top part of my eye on the bottom part. So I'm gonna go in with the rusty brown shade first, and I'm going to place that right up under my eye. Like the outer half of the eye. Okay, and then I'm going to take this Morphe like pencil brush, and I'm gonna blend that down a little bit. I don't want like a super blown out under eye for my wedding day. I kind of just want it to be like tucked up right at the lash line. So that's why I'm doing that. Normally I like to bring my eyeshadow down pretty low under there, but I want my eyes to be very bright and open, at least under here. We did the bulk of the smokiness up on the top part of the lid. So I'm taking the like darker brown shade that we used on the outer corner, and I'm gonna add that, and I'm gonna try and connect it up to the top. And this one I'm gonna bring a little further down and further in. And then I'm gonna take the pencil brush again and blend it out. And I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. All right, next is gonna be lashes, and I'm still experimenting with a few different styles of lashes. I have a box of like 12 pairs of ColourPop lashes over here in the corner that I'm still kind of working through and trying to figure out what I like and what I want to wear on my wedding day. But for today, I'm gonna be trying out these. These are the ColourPop lashes in the style Honey, Hunni. They look like this. They're a very symmetrical lash, and that may change a little bit because we're gonna have to cut them. But they get a little fluffier towards the center and then a little more sparse toward the inner and outer corner. So to ensure that the lash band doesn't show, I know I said I didn't want to use liquid liner, but this is a trick I like to use if I don't want to do a full wing, but I don't want my lash band to show, especially on this inner corner here. That's where I tend to have the biggest issue with it. I will take my liquid liner. This is the ColourPop BFF liquid liner. This is just the black one. And I'm just gonna put a very thin line from like, if you look straight ahead, from like my pupil to the inner corner. That's it. You're not gonna see it once the lash is on, because this band is a little thicker. You're not gonna see it, but this is going to ensure that since I have a thicker band on my lash, that you're not gonna see it. So I'm going to, I cannot do this from far away, sorry. I'm going to just take that and lay it flat against my lash line and go right there. All right, so that is just that on this eye, and it looks a little shiny and it looks kind of crazy when you don't have the lash on, but once you have a lash on, it's like no big deal. You can't even see it. So we've got that on, and I'm just gonna put these lashes on because this takes a little bit of time for me. I've been putting on lashes for a while, but I feel like I just need a little extra time to really get these down. And since this is a new style to me, I want to be able to figure out how they look best on my eyes. So I'm going to do these off camera, and then I'll come back and I'll show you what they look like. Okay, so these are the lashes, and I just want to say that while these are a beautiful lash, I feel like they're a little natural for me. If you have like smaller eyes, or if you're not as comfortable wearing a lash, this might be a good one for you. And they tend to, at least this pair on me, tends to go it's a little more straight of a lash, so I had to kind of work on getting them to go more up so that you could see them, because I have pretty naturally long lashes. Once I put mascara on them, I feel like it kind of gives me the same effect, but these lashes do benefit from getting a little mascara on them. So I feel like these are, if you're not comfortable putting on your mascara than your lashes, these are perfect for you. And I feel like maybe I probably won't wear these on my wedding day just because I want something a little more dramatic. I just think that's more my personal style, but these are a very beautiful lash and I really like them. Again, that's the ColourPop lashes in the style Honey. Okay, so next is the lip. I'm gonna go in with a lip liner because I want this lip to last through kissing on my man, through the big I do kiss. I want it to last all day. And I'll probably have it close by, like my maid of honor will probably have it on her person so I can touch up if I want to. But this is the Morphe lip liner in the shade Frenchie. It's a pretty like neutral pink nude. And I start with my Cupid's bow. I have a pretty defined Cupid's bow, like it's very much like an angle Cupid's bow, so I can make a little X on it. I can't talk while I do this. So I make a little X at the Cupid's bow, and then I fill in the top lip, and then I go under the bottom lip. I'll show you. Little X right there. And then I build on it. And then I'm gonna fill in this top lip, just a little bit. And then for the bottom lip, so I like to go a little bit underneath the bottom of my lip line, just in the center. Like that. So that makes the lip look a little bit more pouty without being super overdrawn. Okay, and then I just fill in a little bit with the lip liner. So that's a pretty color on its own. I really like it, but I want to make it just a little bit lighter. And for that, I'm gonna go in with this Morphe liquid lipstick in the shade Virgin. And my trick with liquid lipsticks, because I typically don't really like a liquid lipstick, but they do last a really long time, so they are ideal for brides. I like to go just a little bit in the center of my lip and then pat it out. The thinner the layer of liquid lipstick, the longer it's gonna wear. And liquid lipsticks tend to be pretty full coverage anyway, so you don't need to do the full meal deal. You can just do a little bit. And it'll be pretty full coverage. And my lips are hella dry right now. I need a lip mask on them like ASAP. I think just for the sake of the video, to cover up this little spot that's driving me crazy, I'm gonna make it a beauty mark. Remember how I said earlier that we're gonna add highlight? That's the last thing that I like to add because I wanna see how my eyes turned out. So, because we used a little bit more of that cooler tone champagne shade on the lid, I am gonna go in with a little bit of a more, not icy, but a little cooler tone of highlight. And I'm going to be very specific about where I place it. So I'm using this Morphe R36 brush, and I'm using the Jaclyn Hill, or it's just the Jaclyn Cosmetics, the Flash highlighting palette. It looks like this. It is very beautiful. And normally I would kind of go in and mix all of these shades, but since we did a little bit more of a, like a brighter, cooler toned champagne shade on the lid, I kind of want to match that. So I'm going to go in with this shade right here and this shade right here. I'm going to mix back and forth between the two of them. And I don't want this to be that bright, but I do want to get all of it on in one kind of dip. So I'm tapping off most of the excess. Then for me, I like to look where the light actually hits my cheek, which is right here. And I'm going to go right there with this brush, just in that area. You can see I've got so little on my brush after tapping it off that it's not crazy, but it is showing up. I'm gonna pop a little bit on the tip of the nose, and then I'm gonna blend this up onto the forehead with whatever's left. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. Again, we're playing with the light. The light's gonna bounce off of this area because you concentrated this shinier product here. Versus it bouncing off the whole cheek, it's gonna really catch this light and make the cheekbone look higher and make it pop a little more. Pop a little on my chin, a little more on the nose. This is like the final step. This is the finished look. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go change into something real fast. All right, friends, I have got my bride shirt on. I am officially a bride. This is the shirt that I wore when I went and picked out my wedding dress, so I just thought it was fitting to pop it on for the end of this video. This is the finished makeup look. Oh my God, I'm getting married in 2 weeks. That is just wild, and I'm not ready. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. If you're getting married sometime soon, or if you have a special event to go to and you want to follow this makeup routine, please do send me pictures on Instagram. That's Bells on Beauty on Instagram. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below if you liked this video. You can give it a like and you can share it with your friends, all that good stuff. But I'm gonna go. I really hope you enjoyed it. I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks so much. Bye.